But thank you everyone for joining today. I'm Rory. I'm the head of sustainability for Recorra. My last webinar, we were known as Paper Round or BPR Group or under a few different names. So that is why we've changed our name to Recorra. We haven't been bought out or we haven't been sold or anything. Everything company is still the same, but we are now called Recorra just to put all the names under one hat. And thanks today for joining me with this webinar, the last one of the year, Real Recycling this Christmas, how to make your December even greener. Because during Christmas time and this time of year is a very gluttonous time where our waste goes up by about 30%. If you think about all the different extra things that you have in your household and have in your office during this time, you can see why the waste increases so much. So I'm just going to go through the 12 steps of Christmas with the 12 different tips and hints that we've come up with here at Recorra to help you make this December as green as possible and try and just do little things here and there to try and reduce your waste, recycle more, and make everything a little bit more sustainable this Christmas. So the first thing, and it might be a bit late because hopefully you've been opening your windows of your advent calendar. So the first tip we have around advent calendars is to either make them yourselves. So during this time of year, there's always thoughts about office parties and trying to do things within your team and do different things. And one of those could be to make an advent calendar. So out of different materials that you have within the office, you can make your own advent calendar or buy a reusable one that's got little doors in it. But if you do have the Cadbury's advent calendar that I've got at the minute and that I'm opening, and you had your little chocolate snowman this morning, whenever it gets to the 25th of December, make sure you recycle that correctly. With the advent calendars, you've got the cardboard on the outside, you've got the plastic tray, and then you've got the foil film to keep that chocolate fresh. And you need to separate those different items for it to be recycled. Your cardboard and your plastic tray can be recycled in your recycling bin, but then that tin foil needs to go in your general waste because it cannot be recycled. So just whenever you come to the end of your advent calendar, make sure you separate them and put them in the right bins. Next thing I want to talk about is IT waste. Now, maybe IT waste in Christmas, you're not really thinking about chucking away computers, but then with Christmas and getting gifts, we often get new technology and new gadgets over Christmas time, whether that be new phones, new watches, new tablets, new different things. And then that means that you're going to be replacing your old one. And what we want to say is do not throw these old gadgets, these old electronic devices into the miscellaneous drawer at home. And I know you all know what your miscellaneous drawer is. And if I asked you all how many mobile phones you currently have sitting in random drawers around your home or in your office, then you'll all be able to, I'm sure there's a few old Nokia 3310s about. So with old gadgets, old electronic devices, please either recycle them in your office if there's an IT and waste electrical service there. You can take them to your local recycling center where they normally collect electronic equipment as well, or donate them to good causes or to charities or to other people who need them. With IT waste, it's often made up of precious metals. There's a lot of gold because it's highly conductive in mobile phones and computers, lithium being in batteries around electric cars and mobile phones and tablets and things. And these are all precious metals, and these are often found in conflict zones because they're so rare. Where there's a rare commodity, a rare resource, that often drives conflict. So the more that we can keep these materials, the gold, the palladium, the platinum, the lithium in circulation and being recycled, then the less that will need new resource that will be needed, and then that will lead to less conflict in these areas where it's coming from. So please do not put these items in the miscellaneous drawer, and please donate them or recycle them as best you can. The third thing I want to talk about is get creative with your Christmas crackers, and maybe not just your Christmas crackers, but Christmas decorations as well, which I'll talk about a bit later. With Christmas crackers, everyone wants them around their dinner table and they're always a lot of fun, but often you're left with these paper cardboard exterior, and then you've got maybe a plastic and you've got a papery Christmas hat that you put on that maybe lasts about 5 minutes until it gets ripped, and then it falls off your head and into your Christmas dinner. And then you get those little toys, which you get a little fish, you put it on your hand, it then curls in a certain way, and then you try and read about what the next year of your life is going to entail based on this fish. And then again, that'll end up in the bin. So please, if you can, refrain from getting Christmas crackers that are single-use, disposable, and aren't going to lead to much. And you can make your own crackers. Again, an idea in which you can do in the office place as a Christmas party, for the office Christmas party. You can make your own Christmas cracker and fill it with not necessarily toys, but maybe a little note to someone, a little message to someone, maybe something that's happened this year, or a good memory or a good story from the workplace. So when they open the cracker at home, they're reminded of a good thing that's happened over the last 12 months, and not a little plastic toy that they're never going to use. And then once you've had your Christmas cracker and you've opened them up, you've then got the Christmas dinner. And the main message here is try not to overbuy. And I know it's hard at the best of times to know exactly what you want, what you'll need to buy, and how many people are going to be there for Christmas and things. Going to be even harder now with the weather that we're having, but then also with the train strikes and not knowing who's going to be able to get where and things like that. So please try not to overbuy, and the best way to do that is just to plan and pre-cook. If you pre-cook and know exactly what you're making, then whenever different people who are coming that day ask, can they bring something? And you very politely say, no, don't worry, I've got everything, but then they insist on bringing something anyway, and then they bring something that you don't necessarily want or need. But if you pre-plan and if you cook everything in advance, then whenever people do ask if they can bring anything, there's always that one item or one ingredient that you've forgotten, and you can ask them to bring that, and then that's a win-win for everyone. And if there is food left over at the end of Christmas dinner and there's too much even for Bubble and Squeak the next day, then you can donate that unwanted food to charity or create new recipes. So following this, like I said, I'll send you some notes about what I'm talking about today, and then we've got a couple of new recipes that you can use with the leftovers from Christmas dinner. And then you've had your Christmas dinner, and then you're giving away you're giving out presents. Similar to the idea around the IT waste and the old gadgets and different things like that. If you're replacing a watch or you're getting a present that's a newer version of what you already got, then please donate those old items that you have. But if you're getting a present that you don't necessarily want or don't necessarily like, then please don't put that in the miscellaneous drawer as well, or just put it in the bin. Then please donate that to a charity or to a good cause. Or there is also the option of regifting it. So often regifting is seen quite negatively and seen as something that you shouldn't necessarily do with a present because someone has given that to you. But if you're not going to use it and it's just going to end up gathering dust or being put in the bin, then it's much better that somebody else uses that gift rather than just being thrown away. So that I'm a firm believer that there is no issue with regifting gifts. These are often gifts that you get in your Secret Santa because you've got someone on the third floor who you've never spoken to and you're not quite sure what to get them, so you just get them a mug. But then it turns out they don't actually drink tea or coffee, so they've got no use for the mug anyway. Another idea for Secret Santa, again, maybe a bit late in the day now for this year, but maybe in future years, instead of doing a Secret Santa for people within the office, you can do a Secret Santa for a person in need. You can partner with a children's organization or other charities and buy a present for that organization, and then one day over December you can go and give those presents to those good causes. When I've suggested these ideas to people, some people have said, maybe it's not the best time to do it because not that they receive lots of gifts over Christmas time, but they're more likely to receive gifts over Christmas time than other times of the year. But these organizations, good causes, know that, and often they will keep these presents, give some away for Christmas, but then keep those presents for throughout the year. So there's birthdays, different celebrations throughout the year in which kids and other people will want presents, and then these good causes can keep those presents throughout the whole year. So please, throughout December, if you want to give a gift to a good cause organization, please do, and regifting as well is a very good thing to do. Obviously, you often wrap up that present, and a word of warning that the vast majority of wrapping paper, I would say 99% of wrapping paper, is not recyclable because of the material that it's made up from. It is not the same as your normal paper, so it cannot be recycled in a paper bin. So please keep your wrapping as minimal as possible. Reuse wrapping paper that you've had from previous years instead of tearing open that present whenever you get it. Take off the sticky tape, and then you can reuse that wrapping paper. Use old newspaper or different things like that, or use a reusable bag. Wine bottles are given out as presents all the time using reusable gift bags, so it is perfectly okay to reuse a gift bag when giving a present this year. So please try to keep wrapping paper as minimal as possible and reuse any bits of paper, newspaper, or different things around the house used to wrap up your items before gifting them. And number 7 is kind of the big thing that we talk about all the time. If you've ever heard me speak about waste and recycling before, it is to keep your recyclings clean and dry as much as possible. It's snowing. It's not snowing right now, but it has been snowing over the last 48 hours or so, especially around London way. And with this winter weather, it can really damage the recyclability of different items. I'm sure there are lots of Amazon deliveries going around to different houses, lots of cardboard being delivered. If that cardboard goes outside and gets wet, if it gets a little bit wet during normal times, then that's okay. We can work with that. But if it's completely sodden through, it damages all the fibers of that recyclable material, of that cardboard, and then it will no longer be able to go on and have a second life. So please keep your recyclables as clean and dry as possible. I know it's extremely hard during this time of year to keep on top of your bins in the office and at home, because the service schedules are different. You with the bank holidays, you're not quite sure when they're going to arrive, and then if you've missed that one day, you need to wait another 2 weeks until they come and pick up your bins. So it's hard to keep on top of it, but if you can keep them as clean and dry as possible, then they've got a much better chance of having a second life. Next, I want to talk about Christmas cards. We all love spreading the Christmas joy, and Christmas cards is often a very good way of doing that. But just like wrapping paper, a word of warning that any Christmas card with glitter on it, or that is extra shiny, or has different items on it, then it will not be recyclable. It cannot be recycled. So if you are going to send a Christmas card, then please just get a normal paper plain card, or what can be better is just to send an animated e-card. That's just a better way, a more efficient way, and a more environmentally friendly way of spreading the Christmas joy through an e-card. It also means that if you've forgotten to give a card to number 51 down the road, then it's very easy to send a quick email the night before Christmas, and then they'll be none the wiser. But if you have to go and post the cards, then it's a lot more obvious that you've forgotten to give them a card. And then Christmas decorations, we spoke about creating our own Christmas crackers. You can also create your own Christmas cards, but Christmas decorations is a really fun thing to do within your office to spread some festive cheer. So whether that be throughout the year, you've got different items and then you turn them into Christmas decorations, Or what I think is a good way of doing it is if there are lots of old things that you've left in your drawer or left on your office desk or different things like that, then you can challenge each other that whatever you have within your space, within your drawer, within your locker, within your desk, those items, you need to turn them into Christmas decorations. And then you can turn it into a nice fun game within the office and then try and make Christmas decorations. And if you really want to, you can make them your Secret Santa presents to each other. So then they can they have to put it up on their tree at home. And then the last few things around the Christmas party. So you've made your Christmas decorations, you've given out your e-cards, you've created your Christmas crackers, and then there's going to be lots of food and maybe some drink as well at these Christmas parties. What I really want to stress with these is that your normal office bins and office setup is not suitable for Christmas parties. It is suitable for the day-to-day office environment and office work with the number of general waste bins, mixed recycling bins, food bins, paper bins, things like that. But during Christmas time and during Christmas parties, there's a lot more food waste and a lot more glass waste. So please, when you have these parties, please make sure you've got enough bins for that food and for that glass. Food is a very good material to put in the correct bin, because if it goes into a food bin, it goes off for anaerobic digestion, which is used to then generate gas and which in turn makes electricity, which is vitally important in the current climate. And then the compost that's left over the end is used as compost to create more food. And then glass is a very good recyclable material, because if it stays in the loop, then it can be used and made into glass an infinite amount of times. The quality of it doesn't degrade, so as long as it stays in a glass bin and is recycled correctly, then it'll keep going on and on. And just like we spoke about the IT waste, and it being the IT waste is a rare commodity, a lot of the components of it, but glass, the more glass that we can keep in circulation, then the less glass we need to make and save resources. So number 11, again, it might be a bit late because there's only 12 days until Christmas, so Christmas trees might have gone up at the weekend, but if you can, moving forward, please use reusable faux Christmas trees. Fake Christmas trees or plastic Christmas trees or whatever you like to call them can last for over 10 years and have a massive reduction in environmental impact of Christmas trees. And if there are many different things that I've seen on social media recently about people being very creative with their Christmas trees at home. I've seen a bookcase where they've turned the books the wrong way round to create a Christmas tree. I've seen white paper just put onto a wall, and then kids can just go wild and scribble on that Christmas tree and make whatever decorations they want. There's lots of new and creative ways in which you can have Christmas trees either at home or in your office that are a lot less environmentally damaging than having a Christmas tree. But if you do want a real Christmas tree at home, then please have a repottable one. So if you have one that keeps its roots intact, then after you have it in your household for a few weeks, you can then take it back outside, replant it, and then it's ready again for next year. And then finally, 12th day of Christmas, something we don't necessarily want to talk about right now, but the January blues are always a thing and are going to happen after the Christmas period. And what I just want to say is that when you take everything down, when you take down the lights, take down the tree, take down the decorations, go through all your presents again, take all the wrapping paper, all the Amazon cardboard packages, all the glass bottles that have been left behind, all the food waste, please just make sure that you separate it and put it in the right bin. Like I said, with the glass and the food and how good that is, then please just make sure all these things are kept in circulation and can go on to have a second life. But also, with those gifts and those presents and anything that can be reused, please reuse it. Anything that can be donated, please donate it. We've always been told reduce, reuse, recycle since we were kids. So during this Christmas time, please, if we can reduce as much waste and recycling that we produce as possible, that is the #1 priority. If we can't reduce it, then reuse it or regift it or donate it. And then finally, if we can't do any of those, that's when we need to put things in the right bin by separating our paper, our cans, our plastics, our food, our glass, and our general waste. And that's the 12 steps of Christmas, the 12 top tips that we have this Christmas. That here at Recorra, we think to try and make your December a little bit more green and try and really reducing your waste and recycling as much as you can. I've left a little QR code there if you want to leave a Google review for if this is the first of my webinars that you've been to. Then if you enjoyed it, please leave a review. For if you've been to the others that I've done throughout the year, then please leave a Google review. And also, if you would like, in the new year, we've already got some big ideas for what webinars we can do in the new year. But if you have any ideas or thoughts on what we can do, then please let us know and we can look at doing that. So I'll just stop sharing my screen now and I'll have a look. Sorry if there were questions, the questions weren't popping up, but if anyone has any questions, then please put them in the chat or please put them in the Q&A. So we've got a question saying about struggling to know if a plastic container is recyclable or not, and if there's a minimum size container that is recyclable in general. So plastic, it is hard to know because there are many different types of plastics, and then if you chuck compostable packaging into the mix as well, that makes it a little bit more confusing. In terms of the size of a container, a general rule of thumb is that if it's a smaller than a post-it note, so sort of 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters, then it cannot be recycled. But anything bigger than a post-it note can be recycled. So sort of a yogurt pot is probably the smallest thing that can be recycled. And then in terms of what can or cannot be recycled, an easy way is that if it's a firm rigid plastic, then it can be recycled. If it's a flexible plastic, such as plastic film or crisp packets or snack wrappers, things like that, they cannot be recycled. So that's probably the simplest way to look at it. If it's a squishy plastic that you can squish up like a plastic bag, like cling film, then it cannot be recycled. But if it's a firmer plastic, like a plastic bottle, like a meat tray, things like that, they can be recycled. I had a question about real Christmas trees. So with real Christmas trees, once you've used them and it's the 6th of January and you need to take them down, then if you're at home, then you can take them to your local recycling center. If they're in the office, we, Recorra, can collect your Christmas trees. We can deliver you with a box to put your Christmas trees in, and then we can take them off to be composted with our composting reprocessing site. So if you've got one in the office and you want to dispose of it, then please get in touch with us and we can dispose that for you. Napkins, which bins you put them in. Napkins, if they're dirty, so if they're soiled and if they're dirty, then please put them in the general waste bin. If they're unsoiled, we've recently launched a new waste stream for paper towels and napkins and things like that. So if you have our new paper towel waste stream in your building, then you can put them in there and we will get them to be recycled. If you do not have that stream, then napkins cannot be put in the normal mixed recycling bin. Napkins and paper towels are made differently than paper. They've got a waterproof quality to them, which makes them not being able to recycle in the same way. And with that water strength. That's why different paper towel and napkin organizations say that they're 99% stronger than the other leading competitor and things like that. So they cannot be recycled in the same way, so need to be reprocessed differently. So if you have our paper towel waste stream, then you can put them in there. If you don't, then they would need to go into general waste, whether they're soiled or unsoiled. Using reindeer droppings on my cabbage patch. Yes, I don't want to ask too many questions about that. But yes, any composting at home is a very good thing to do, especially with food waste. Do not do it with your compostable packaging. That needs to go to a special facility in order to compost. But any sort of food waste, if you want to keep the rats away, then don't put any meat or bones in your compost patch, but any sort of fruit and vegetables, you can put them in a compost patch and it'll be rodent free. And it's a very good way of reducing your waste and reducing the number of collections you need. And then also when it comes to springtime, you've got some compost ready for your cabbages. Someone has said that they reuse Christmas cards for gift tags for next year. So yes, if you got a Christmas card, then you can cut them up and take off that front page. It's a nice picture of something, and use that as your gift tag. And there's a link as well, and I will make sure that link goes in the follow-up email with this recording. Soiled napkins go into the compost bin, so paper napkins. If it's if it's made from compostable materials, the napkin, then I would still probably say not, because that will still need to go to a specialist facility. I would, without knowing the specific brand, then I would say that 90% of the time napkins should go in your general waste bin and will probably not break down in a compost bin with your other food waste items that you have. I would say that soiled napkins, any paper towels, tissue paper, things like that should go in your general waste bin and will not compost down in a compost bin. Someone has asked, is aluminium foil recyclable? Aluminium foil is not recyclable. So that sort of tin foil that you have on advent calendars over top of the plastic tray to keep your chocolates fresh, that cannot be recycled, so that should go into your general waste bin. Okay, if anyone has any other questions, then please let me know. And like I said, I will. Milk bottle tops were the first things. So the milk bottle tops, those little plastic films, just because the value of those things is not the same as it necessarily was with the milk bottle tops. So those little caps to the milk bottles, and they will also be too small. They'll get lost in the recycling process as well with those little caps to those milk bottles, so they would not be recyclable now in a normal recycling bin. Yes, so the paper towel stream would be completely separate from a mixed recycling stream. They would need to go into separate bins. But with paper towels, we found that where you get paper towels within a building is in very not unique places, but in very separated places. So within bathrooms, within toilets is where people use most of their paper towels. So it's very easy to put a paper towel bin in there. It's not like a normal mixed recycling bin or a general waste bin where they're being used in many different places around the building. Paper towels are often used in very certain areas, so it's easy to put a paper towel bin in that area. And then in how they're collected, there would be separate paper towel bins being collected from your loading bay with the paper towels. Any advice how we convince our office to include a food compost bin at work? To get one at work, you need the space to do it. I assume you've got the space to do it and you're not looking to put it in the reception. But if you had a loading bay in which you could put one in, people's main worries about a compost bin is that is due to rodents. But like I said, if you keep it as fruit and vegetables rather than meat and bones, then it's more likely to be rodent free. A good place to have the compost bins, or if you wanted to have worm farms, things like that, on the roof of your building is a very good place to have them, because then it doesn't lead to any smell issues because it's up on the roof. And you can keep them, there's a little bit of space up on the roof where you can kind of section off from the rest of the roof, and then it's up on there. In terms of convincing them to have one, the benefits of it are very good. And I mean, that's a very wishy-washy thing to say, isn't it? That'd be very good. But I'm trying to think if we've got a info sheet in which I can send to you. But by having a compost bin on site, it means our vehicle doesn't have to come and collect your food waste to then send it to be composted. So you've reduced those vehicle movements. You'll reduce your cost on site because, again, we won't have to come and collect it. So therefore, and you'll just have it on site. You then have compost in which you can give to your staff members and people within the building. You can either sell that compost or you can give out free compost. You could give it to the local council, to the local good causes who maybe have vegetable patches and different things for home gardening, and you can donate it to them as a good cause. So there's lots of added benefits that maybe seem small, but if you add them all together, it's a lot of benefits coming with the home composting or office composting. Okay, if nobody has any more questions, then like I said, I will send out this recording, and if there are any other questions or issues that people have, please email me, send them to me, or get in contact at any point. Screw plastic bottle tops on plastic bottles before disposing. Yes, make sure your plastic bottle caps are on your plastic bottles before disposing. Squish it so it gets the air out of it, so then there's more space in your bin. Put the lid back on top of it so then that no contamination will go into your bottles, such as liquids or food. If you squish it, it also means when it is put in the back of the vehicle and squished, then the bottle top does not fly off and hurt a driver. So you got to squish it, put the bottle top back on. If the bottle top is back on, it means it will not get lost in the recycling process because it's smaller than a Post-it note. So that bottle cap, if it's on the bottle, will stay on the bottle and then get reprocessed. If it's loose, it will get lost in that stage as well. So please put those bottle tops back on. Any other questions, please email me and us and get in touch at any point. And if anyone has any ideas or thoughts about a topic that they would like us to discuss in the new year, please let us know. But I will make sure that everyone who has attended today hears about any future webinars that we do. And thank you again for joining today on this cold Tuesday morning, but I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.